On this episode of Up Late, we chat to Chadwick Boseman, Sienna and director Kirk about their new movie, 21 Bridges.
If we don't catch these guys in the next 3 or 4 hours, they vanish. How are you gonna do this?
There are 21 bridges in and out of the island. Shut them down.
What island?
Manhattan.
Chadwick and Sienna talk about the background development of their realistic characters, the intensity of their jobs, police loyalty, and their characters' relationship to each other. Let's check out the interviews.
The beginning of the movie was something that I think in every stage we worked on, and the script went through a lot of development, and we talked about it a lot even during production and even in post-production. Were we gonna, for instance, keep the scene with my mother at the beginning where I'm taking care of her and she has dementia, and then the scene with IA where they're questioning whether I should how many times I've used my gun over the last few years.
I mean, I think that these people have lives. All of the cops obviously have lives and families, and then have to go and do these really intense jobs. And obviously in the case of Frankie, her kid is very sick. She's a single mother. The stakes are really high for her, and I found that aspect really interesting. What is she going to risk for her kid? People in the police force are tight. It's just like you put that badge on, your family. That's how they operate. I do think that this film is character driven, and I think there's a version of it that could have been action, but what I love is how deep they go on character, how everybody has their own conflict that you're really clear about, and people turn out to be not what you'd expect, and that's life.
It's very gray. It's not just black and white. It's not good guys just chasing bad guys, and there's a definite heartbeat under it all.
It's one of those things where the audience has to, challenge their own mental or moral compass, if you will, about the things they believe are right and wrong, and what is really right and wrong.
The intensity of this film is based upon the cops that are killed, and anytime you have a situation where with police officers, one of them is harmed, they galvanize and gather around that person and want to solve that case. So that's part of the intensity of the film. Obviously the time constraints and the shutting down the city is part of the intensity of the film. So these two are sort of forced together in a way where they have to quickly trust each other and believe in each other, in a way that I think helps the film.
You couldn't put this just anywhere, obviously. I think Manhattan, the energy that city brings as well, the pride that these guys have, these men and women that serve. I mean, the first 20 minutes of this movie is out of control. Like, it sets the precedent for the rest of it, and I think that's a huge draw for it.
They told me you were Fearless, the guy who kills cop killers.
Police, out of the way, move! I will find out why the night happened.
We asked director Kirk why he's a fan of manhunt movies and what attracts him to the genre. He talks about how 21 Bridges is an action movie but has layers to it, which makes it more exciting. And he explains the interesting parallels between the lives and characters Michael and Andre.
I think what, for me, is great about manhunt movies as a concept is that they're kind of all implicitly a journey into the self, where that when a person sets out to kill another person, that they discover a huge amount about themselves, and the action of this story in fact causes Andre to completely reevaluate that, and he discovers that the guy he thought he wanted to kill, in fact, he needs to save. Both the Stephan and Taylor backstory grew out of the casting. That was something that wasn't originally in the script, but part of what we wanted to do was to parallel Michael and Andre and say, here are two men, both of whom have been shaped by grief at a certain stage in their lives, and both of whom eventually go on to take the lives of other men and have to live with the consequences of that. The character-driven component of it is what makes it make sense to me. Those layers of character were what allowed us to, or what enabled us to attract the level of cast that we did. And once you cast actors of that quality, Chadwick, Sienna, Taylor, Stephan, JK, when you've got those people at your disposal, you really need to let them do their thing. And so it felt like essential that we understood each of those characters in a profound way, and that the motivations that drove all of them were coherent, but also those big emotional layers make the action more exciting.
21 Bridges is out now in theaters. Make sure you go and check it out. I'm Danielle DeLate, and you're watching Up Late.